Now let's have a look at something called querySelectorAll. This is also another method available on document object, where it is just an extension of earlier query selector, where rather than simply getting the first match, it returns a list of all the elements which are matched, and it is provided as per whatever the selectors you pass in the argument of this thing. And in query selector and query selector all, in both cases, the selector which you are passing here, it can have multiple selectors also, right? So something like p comma space div, something like this. So let's say we'll see that, because see, if you are using query selector all, then it will make sense, right? But in query selector it will not make much sense, but in any case you can use both at any places, because css wise it is syntactically correct, right? Now let's simply see p only for now. So we have an HTML document where, let's say, p hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, these are there, right? Then when only query selector was there, then we were getting, let's say, only the first one, right? And so for example, if inner text is there, then you can see that this thing is hello 1, the first one we are getting, right? What if we are interested in all? So if we do something like query selector all, then this element, this is not now one element, this is a list of elements, right? So if you print this, so now you will see a list, and this is called node list. Okay, so what is exactly node list? So you can consider that it is simply an array with some additional methods available on top of it, but logically it is just an array. So whatever things you do on array, you can do all of them. So let's say array dot length, so its length is 3, so it will give you, right? You can iterate over it and all, we'll see that soon, but yeah. And you can clearly see that it has 3 p's, but then what are these 3 p's? How can I know that what are the values? So all those things you can do conventionally, what we used to do earlier, right? So in JavaScript you can write a for loop with index I to, let's say, elements dot length, and then elements I is what? Elements I is now my element, right? Now my element. So this element can be printed or whatever I want. So let's say I want to do something like this, that this ith, sorry, at the ith match is this thing dot inner text, something like this. So I want to see how many are matched, whatever is matched at that particular index, whatever is in inner text. Okay, so when I do that, then you see that 3 elements are matched, 0 1 2 are the indices, and hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, all 3 are matched. So you can see that element I, it's same as query selector, but now element I has that element. So for example, element 1 will have access to this thing, right? And then you can do whatever you want. So for example, if you say that yeah, if I is equal to 1, then take this element, which means that element 1 whatever, and this particular element dot inner text is equal to, let's say, Ola or something, right? Then you will see that, yeah, so this thing you targeted and you changed, right? So programmatically, like you can, and again, this is simply this element is an iterator, so whatever you did here you could have done very simply like this also, elements dot for each, and then in the callback you could have got the element directly, you could have got this element rather than elements I or something, right? And then directly you could have printed something like this. So everything what we learned in JavaScript will work here, right? Or for that matter, let's say I have for of element in elements. We know that this is an iterator, right? So this will also work in this case. So see, this also works. So whatever we have done earlier with arrays, all of these things will work here. But the whole point is that query selector all gives us the complete node list rather than single node, and then on each node we can do whatever we want. We can modify it, we can read its value, we can write to it, and all those things we can do, right? Yeah, so there it is. The document.querySelectorAll, and again this can be as complicated as you want. So let's take an example of slightly complicated one. So let's say some div is there, and inside that this p is there, let's say, and let's say it has class is equal to abc. Okay, now if I simply do p, then what is going to happen? You can see that still I get hello 1 2 3 all. Why? Because I don't know, like I'm just matching p, whether at the first level, at second level, at fifth level, wherever I get the p's, I return all the results. So I returned this, and this. So you understand, right? It doesn't matter like at what level deep it is there, anywhere it is there, it will be matched, right? And but if I write something like no, I just want this p or something like, so then I can either put some id here, right, or I can put let's say dot abc, and inside dot abc it should be there, right? So I can write something like dot abc, and then you can see that hello 2 will match, right? Because hello 2 is the only one which is inside some element which is having dot class, dot abc as the class, right? And again, if you, instead of this, if you write something like this, then it should be a direct descendant, and in this case it will give you not a value, which essentially this thing becomes null. This thing becomes null. And why that becomes null? So in case of query selector it is null. In case of query selector all, it will give you, like, if no results are there, then it will give you empty array, right? But why it is giving you empty array? Because I am saying direct descendant, right? This arrow means direct descendant. This p is not a direct descendant of this div, right, which is having dot abc class, so that's why that is giving me the empty array as the answer. Okay, and again here also this thing should be a valid css selector, and again query selector all is also available on elements, which means that you can very much have something like this, where you are saying that I just want let's say this thing. I'm just giving an example, might not make much sense, but so this will be an array with one element, right? One element, because only one element have dot abc. But if I take its 0, then I will get that particular div which is having abc, right? Now I can say that I want to search inside that. Inside that means I am targeting some element which is like dot query selector all, and let's say some p I'm trying to search. Okay, so you can see that it is giving me a node list p. Okay, and which is that p? If you want to see the inner and this is like again an array, so it's 0th element dot inner text, then you'll see that p is hello 2. This thing is targeted, right? And why that is targeted? Because I went to that element which is having dot abc as the class, and then inside that I did query selector p. Okay, so for this element, for this node, I am doing inside this query selector p, query selector all p. So what is the one we got, right? We got just one this. If we would have like 2.1, 2.2, then we would have got that also, right? So the whole point is that when we are getting this thing, when we are getting this EL, then this is also, since it is query selector, this is also a list of elements, right? And then if you get all those elements, then you can simply see that the matches which are there inside, like document dot query selector all you used to match the whole thing. This thing is matching inside that particular element, whatever is the match available, only that is a, and that will be available, right? And you can clearly see that, yeah, some p some p is here also, right? 3 4, but this is not matching, right? Only 2.1 2.2 came in this thing, because this is not a query selector on the document. This is a query selector on only element 0, right? Had it been document, then it would be like this whole thing, right? Whole thing. So in that, all the various p tags which were there, right, all of them will come. So yeah, in this way you can iterate over the DOM. We'll see a few more functions to get started in the DOM part, okay, in the next video.